Hello and welcome back to the Post Football Podcast. I'm your host, Jeremy Walker, joined by Elliot Heath. And today we will be discussing, for our second podcast, the FA Cup final, which Arsenal won 2-1, the Championship playoff between Brentford and Fulham, and a few other little transfer rumours here and there. Elliot, how are you going today?
Good, thanks, Jeremy. How are you?
I'm good, going well. And eventful week of football, to say the least.
Yes, I'm a little bit worse for wear this morning. What are we? 4 hours after the playoff final finished? Not even. Got up early this morning.
How much sleep? How many hours did you get in?
Well, I went to bed at about 12, just after 12. So not too many because the game was at 4:45.
We'll start with we'll go back to the FA Cup though to kick things off, and Arsenal coming out 2-1 winners in what was a very controversial game.
Yes, and I would just like to say that my prediction was spot on from the first podcast. 2-1.
Yes, if you haven't already, go back and listen to the first podcast if you want, although it was a preview of the FA Cup final. But yes, you were right, 2-1 to Arsenal. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang in hot form at the moment to end the season, I should say. Scoring 2 goals as he did in the semi-final. Arsenal hung in there throughout the game. Got a bit lucky with some of the refereeing decisions, which we'll touch on again. But congratulations to Arsenal.
Yeah, well done. They'll get European football, which is good for them. And we also predicted that Aubameyang and Pulisic would both score, and they did. So, I mean, we're on fire.
Yeah, no, exactly. Great way to start the podcast. Hopefully our viewers think we're, tactical geniuses at the moment. But
I was also, I saw something this morning about the fact that Spurs have gone into qualifying for the Europa League, and that if they happen to come up against a team away in qualifying, that there is a UK travel ban too, then they will have to forfeit the tie, which would be very, very interesting.
Right, okay. And when is the Europa League? The playoffs should have to start soon as well.
No, they start next month, yeah.
Next month.
Or possibly even October, at the start of October.
Okay, right. Because I guess the Champions League would be pushed back a bit as well.
But that would be horrible for Spurs if they had to forfeit a tie due to a travel ban.
Yeah, that would. Surely they'll work around that with UEFA. You would think, but
what can you do? If the country they're going to doesn't have the travel ban, and they do, then they can't do anything about that. Technically, the country with the travel ban is the reason for the tie not going ahead. So you have to penalise them, I guess.
Yeah, that's true. Unless they somehow make an exception for sport traveling teams, I'm not sure.
Yeah, it'll definitely be interesting to see, though.
Yeah, no, it'd be very interesting to see how that happens, especially if, somehow one of the players or someone gets infected as well, then that'll disrupt European football. So that would have horrible implications on the rest of the European leagues potentially. So it's a careful one, I guess. But it's funny how if the European league, sort of like the Europa League and Champions League, if they weren't postponed, Spurs would have to be playing their qualifiers before the season actually finished in England. If you think about it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Europa League qualifiers are like July.
Yeah, they'd be on now.
Yeah. But good luck to Spurs and Europa League qualifying. I know it's not the most
not
fun.
good luck to Spurs.
No, not it's not the most fun thing in the world going through Europa League qualifiers. As West Ham, you would know.
Astrogurju.
Yeah. It's becoming a reoccurring meme now on the podcast. But Liverpool once upon a time were there in Spurs' position as well, going through the July European qualifiers as well. But so Spurs,
not where Spurs want to be, but
no, definitely not.
I'm sure they're just happy to be in the Europa League at all.
Yeah, I think was Mourinho when he took over was Spurs are in 16th and they ended up finishing, what was it, 7th?
Yep, 7th.
7th. Yeah, but I don't know if did they better their points tally? They didn't better their points tally
Definitely not. No, no.
because they finished in the Champions League. But yeah, Mourinho is sort of saying that he took over when they were bottom half of the table, and he's brought them up to seventh. But really, it's not much of an achievement. They've gone backwards.
Yeah, I think that's a whole topic in itself. But we'll jump back to the FA Cup.
Okay. Back to the FA Cup final. Chelsea score first with a great goal from Christian Pulisic. He's been in fine form himself. Recently.
Very, very early goal.
Yeah, takes the ball well out of his feet and good finish as well too. Was it the bottom right corner, I think it was?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a good goal. Was it bottom left corner? Either way.
I think it may have been bottom left across the keeper.
Bottom left. It was a good finish to put Chelsea 1-0 up. And Chelsea was they started the game well, were dominant in parts of that first half, but sort of the refereeing decisions, we'll come to that now. Do you think Kovacic was deserving of a red card? I certainly don't think so.
No. If you look at the replay, he definitely wasn't.
No.
And
it's
I don't really see any real contact at all, to be honest. Who did he tackle? Was it Xhaka he tackled? I think it was Xhaka.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's never. Xhaka just played it and the ref fell for it.
Yeah, unfortunately. It's sort of a poor decision from the referee. I mean,
whether or not Chelsea would have come back, I'm not sure. But and what did you think of the penalty decision in the first half?
Yeah, the grab, it was a bit soft, to be honest, but you could argue it from an Arsenal perspective that he does grab the shoulder and prevents Aubameyang from taking a shot. But
yeah, I think Aubameyang goes down way too easily, and it just, for me, it's not a penalty. He didn't do enough. He just had his arm there. I don't think he was pulling, to be honest. I just think he had his arm there, just like many players jostle when they're side to side.
Yeah, and that happens outside the box. I don't think that's
right.
Foul either. So
no.
Yeah, no, definitely Chelsea on the brunt of a few bad calls. There's also that handball from Martinez outside the box when he's a solid yard outside the box.
And he's been posting that all over social media about him catching a Pokemon or something.
Oh,
so he turned it into some sort of meme.
Well, that's the Chelsea fans won't be loving that.
No, definitely not.
Yeah, that's good on him. I mean, they won the FA Cup, but not the most humble of people, I guess, if you're doing that. But anyway.
No, yeah. And then Aubameyang's second goal was quality.
Yeah, that was perfection. That was sort of reminded me of watching Thierry Henry in his prime.
Yeah, Kurt Zouma got absolutely done, and then the finish was exceptional.
Mugged him off, rightfully.
Yeah.
Rightfully so. Yeah,
sat the old Willie down.
Yeah. Yes. Arsenal, I think, would you say they're deserved winners? I mean, they...
Yeah, it's hard to say, but I don't think they're going to care. They've won the FA Cup, and that's all that matters.
That's true. That's very true. And I guess...
I don't think they were necessarily undeserving.
No, they weren't undeserving. You can't say they were undeserving. Chelsea were better in pockets of the game, but so were Arsenal. I mean, maybe helped by the referee a tiny bit, but sometimes that's how football works, and you have to deal with those things. So, Arteta, first trophy at Arsenal. We said Arsenal sort of needed the FA Cup win more, obviously, to get European football for next season. But yeah, Arteta's first trophy. He hasn't even had a full season at the club, and would you say that he's sort of outcoached Lampard in this game, or is that sort of bit of
it's hard to say, really. I don't necessarily think he outcoached him. Pulisic scored a goal in the 5th minute, and then he was injured. I think a bit later on in the first half, a 50-50 penalty decision at second yellow that should never have been a second yellow. I don't think you can say he outcoached him.
Yeah, that is hard to say, to be honest. But yeah, no, Arteta first trophy.
Yeah, I
As
think he'll be very happy with that. But
yeah, as manager of the club. I mean, I think obviously they'll be disappointed with their season overall because
yeah,
finished in what was it, eighth?
eighth. Yeah,
Yeah, just one position below Tottenham, their London rivals. But yeah, it's a great way to top off.
it's salvaged in a small way.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's yeah, exactly. All right, so that was the FA Cup final. Just going back to Pulisic before he pulled his hamstring, didn't he?
He did, yeah, and
Yeah,
he is definitely out for the Bayern game. I don't
yeah.
think they'll be playing another game after that this season, so he'll have a good month to recover.
Very low. I give them a 1% chance to go through.
I don't even give him that without Pulisic.
Yeah,
Or who else got it? Pedro got injured.
yeah, Pedro. Yeah, he could be on his way out of the club too.
Yeah,
Anyway. But I was just gonna say Pulisic. He pulls his hamstring, but then he still. I don't know if you saw it. He still tries to shoot the ball, and it was like wasn't even like a side of the foot finish. He probably tries to laces it towards the goal. And I don't understand how someone pulls their hamstring and then shoots with that same leg after pulling their
yeah.
hamstring.
You can still move it. It's not.
But the pain on his face.
Yeah, but I guess maybe when he first did it, like it hadn't fully computed. You know what I mean?
Yeah, just
It
the adrenaline.
takes a minute to settle in and realize what you've actually done.
Yeah, yeah. Fair enough. Well, Arsenal.
That is a problem with him, though. He's very injury prone, Pulisic.
Yeah, that could be a problem for Chelsea moving forward. Although they do have the likes of Ziyech and Werner coming in, but that is a topic for another time as well. Those Chelsea transfers coming into the club, potential title pushes next season, but that's a topic for another time. We'll move on to the Championship final, which Fulham came out on top in extra time, 2-1 against Brentford, who'll be feeling a bit heartbroken right now. But deserved winners there, do you reckon, Elliot? You watched the game?
Yeah, I do. I do think Fulham deserved it based on the balance of play over the 120 minutes. I thought even off the 90 minutes, I thought they probably deserved to win the game in terms of what they showed. Just a quick. That's Brentford's ninth time in the playoffs, trying to get to the Premier League, and have failed all 9 times. So you feel a bit for them, but they weren't deserving of it this morning, and that's the fact.
10th
Fulham,
maybe.
yeah, maybe 10th time, your lucky time, maybe. But Fulham definitely started the brighter in the first 30 minutes of the game. And the former Spurs man, Josh Onoma, looked very, very lively. Had a few chances, set up a few shots for others, but didn't score. And overall, the 90 minutes the first 90 minutes were very underwhelming. Not a whole lot to talk about in terms of chances. The momentum sort of flowed throughout the game. Fulham would have large parts of the ball, and then maybe Brentford would hit back for 15 minutes and have a little spell of their own, but neither team really ever had a clear-cut chance throughout the game. They didn't create a whole lot at all.
Yeah, bit of a cagey sort of affair in parts of the game. I guess you'd expect that in such a big
Yeah,
championship playoff
I think
final.
both teams were playing very cautious, and understandably so, because it's the biggest game of the season. I think neither of them wanted to really make that mistake and cost the team the game, and then ultimately came from nowhere, really, that goal in extra time. First half of extra time.
Piece of genius by Joe Bryan, would you
That's
say?
right. Yeah, well, David Raya comes out at the goal. So I'm pretty sure it was a corner or a free kick. And somehow
Free kick.
Rodak, the Fulham goalkeeper, ends up with the ball. And Rodak punts it long. And it was Abubakar Kamara. No, maybe he was off the field at that time. And it was
Sure.
either Kamara or Mitrovic up there challenging for with one centre back. I assume it was either Pinnock or Janssen, and the goalkeeper, so they were both running towards the ball, but the goalkeeper came all the way out to almost the edge of the D and headed the ball up in the air, but he didn't get it enough on it to send it all the way back to sort of the edge of the other box. It sort of just went in the air and went to the side a little bit, and Onuma was able to get on the ball, and then David Raya was sprinting back to his goal. Like, he'd made a mistake, because if Onuma had have been able to get the shot away, he probably would have been able to score, but Norgard tripped him up so he couldn't get the shot away and got a yellow card. But then, obviously, from the resulting free kick, Scotty Parker brought over Joe Bryan and said, with the help of his backroom staff, I want you to have a ping here. And then he fooled everyone. I thought he was going to whip it in. He had his hand up. He was looking at his teammates across the line at the edge of the box the whole time, and then just went boom into the bottom corner. And David Raya was nowhere. Absolutely, it was shocking goalkeeping. He was nowhere near it.
Yeah, no, he just had to stand and watch, unfortunately. That must have been what a horrible moment for the goalkeeper. But that's...
Yeah, as someone who's played goalkeeper a lot myself, that would have been extremely disheartening and embarrassing.
Yeah, no, especially in such a big occasion. I mean, that's got to be, just tough to take. But that's probably going to go down as one of the classic goals in a championship final. What a piece of
100%, yeah. It
and
But again, what's he doing? What is he doing off his line so much and so far to the other side of the goal? He needs to be. It's almost like he was expecting the ball to come in and he wanted to make sure he caught it. But he needs to just, if he's unable to catch it, you know what I mean, stand in the right position. And if he's unable to grab the ball, trust in his defence that they're going to clear it.
Yeah, and it's not like the free kick was in the most dangerous.
No, and nor did it have that much pace on it, really. It had a decent amount of pace, but it bounced before the goal. Like, he had plenty of time to get there. He was just nowhere near it from the start.
Yeah,
flat-footed and got nowhere near it.
I think many goalkeepers will be questioning what he was thinking, but it was sort of an even game in terms of shots. Brentford had 16, Fulham with 14, 4 on target for Brentford, 6 on target for Fulham. But Fulham had 7 yellow cards, Brentford with 2. So both teams were clearly
a lot of cards in the extra time. All 3 of Fulham substitute got carded. Yeah, Mitrovic, arguably, some people thought he should have been red carded. From the free kick that they scored from, Mitrovic, there was a little scuffle before that free kick, got a yellow card because he put his hand up on the throat of Emiliano Marcondes and sort of forcefully pushed him to the ground. The ref and the linesman only seeing that as a yellow. Many thought that could have been a red for violent conduct, but probably would have been harsh.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Fulham trying to break up the play towards the end of the game. But Joe Byron, or Brian, I should say, coming out with 2 goals from left back. We talked about the first goal, and the second goal was also what a great piece of play from Fulham there.
Yeah, great piece of play. Little 1-2 with Mitrovic, little layback. Very nice touch and a good finish under Raya. Probably wouldn't have had that much space had Brentford not been going for the win because they were quite stretched. Nonetheless, though, it was still a well-worked goal.
Yeah, definitely. And if they can do that sort of play when it comes to the Premier League, then they could leave themselves with a chance of staying in the league. But
impressive, because that was their first year back in the Premier and in the Championship, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. They were relegated.
That's hard to do. So respect to Fulham for that.
Exactly. Scott Parker has done, incredibly well. It's definitely one of the toughest things to do in football because the leagues are so different. It's so hard to get back up. Such a long season in the Championship, but Brentford, they get that consolation goal towards the end.
Henrik Dalsgaard, just a little header back across the goal, nods it in. Too late though. The whistle went after the resulting kickoff, so not even a chance there to get back in the game. But makes the scoreline look a bit more respectable for them. But I don't think they're going to care. At the end of the day, they're not going to be playing Premier League football next year.
No, exactly. They'll have to go again next year, and it's going to be tough for them to get back up to
Yeah,
those.
it's going to be very tough, especially when you look at players like Watkins, Benrahma, Rico Henry. They're all linked, heavily been linked with Premier League clubs, and now that they're not going to be playing in the Premier League with Brentford, you'd think it's going to be very hard for Brentford to keep them and keep that team together and have another push.
Yeah, no, Thomas Frank, the manager there, is definitely, if he's going to stay on for next season, is going to find it a bit tough to get those levels back up again. But they've done it. They've been in the playoffs for the last 9 seasons, so there's no reason why they couldn't get to the playoffs again. It's just about getting over that line, which is, well, obviously they're finding it tough to do. So what they'll do next, who knows? But good luck to them. And yeah, anything else to add on the final?
No, nothing else to add. I think Fulham deserved winners.
Yeah, they just
Brentford unlucky.
yeah, Fulham coming up. Obviously, when they came up to the Premier League 2 seasons ago, um, they made the mistake of spending too much, and they had a squad that didn't gel at all, and they were very inconsistent. So hopefully they learn from their mistakes and yeah, do better.
Yeah, it's always hard to see a team lose a championship playoff final. You feel bad for them. Such a long season to
Yeah,
lose it in extra time to a free kick like that in a goalkeeping error.
yeah. We've seen so many dramatic
Yeah,
championship playoff finals. Remember back
but
to
that is the reality.
yeah, exactly. I was just going to say, going back to QPR versus Derby all those years ago when Derby were absolutely all over QPR. And QPR down to 10 men as well.
Yep,
Yeah,
down to
QPR
10
down.
men.
And then Zamora.
They had just been peppered, absolutely peppered for the last half an hour of the game after Gary O'Neill got sent off. I think Derby hit the post. I think they had their own player block a shot that looked like it was going to go in.
Yeah, they did
Rob
too.
Green was making save after save, and then all from an innocuous throw in. Junior Hoylett wins the ball. Rick crosses it in. Richard Keogh can't deal with it properly, and Zamora goes bash into the top corner with his left foot first time.
The icon, Zamora, Bobby Zamora.
Yep.
Gotta love it.
I think the championship YouTube channel actually uploaded the top 10 moments and that in championship playoff finals, and Bobby Zamora's goal was number 1.
Yeah, oh, that was just an iconic moment. Definitely my number one for championship
Yeah.
finals. But yeah, Fulham back up to the Premier League within a season. Congratulations to Fulham and Scott Parker. Job well done. We'll move on to some transfer rumours then, if that's all right with you. We'll go to Jadon Sancho to Man United. Now, Dortmund have set a deadline, supposedly, the 10th of August for Man United or for other clubs to make a move on Jadon Sancho. They're asking for around 100 million. Do you think that fee is feasible, especially considering the pandemic times right now where money is tight for many clubs? Obviously, United, one of the richest clubs in the world, probably should be able to afford that. But what do you reckon on this transfer?
It's a tough one because you've seen so often that English players in the Premier League have their price inflated to what they realistically should go for. I don't think Jadon Sancho is realistically worth 100 million.
Yeah.
I think he's got a lot of upside to him, but I don't think he's a 100 million player yet. If I'm being honest, he has the potential to be a 100 million player for sure. But I think for United though, I think they should spend 100 million.
That's what I was
Because
just
if that's what Dortmund's asking for, then you're going to have to spend that much. And he's a player that's English, exciting. United already have Rashford and Greenwood, who are both forwards from England that he can gel with easily.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. If you're United, are you willing to pay the 100 million? I'd say probably absolutely yes. That's he's going to greatly improve that squad. So
yeah, and you don't want him to go to a rival because he's going to come to the Premier League eventually. That's inevitable.
yeah, I mean, Man City were rumored with him as well. Liverpool too. I don't know if he'll go back to Man City because that was where he started as well, and
Yeah,
didn't necessarily get given the chance there. Or
I understand there's a pandemic, but if you can spend 80 million on Harry Maguire, then I think you can fork up the 100 million for Sancho.
yeah, no, United should be financially in a position to do that. But yeah, that would be a magnificent signing for them. I mean, it's a shame for Dortmund losing another one of their great players, but I guess that's their business model. At the moment, we've seen it for many of their players. You go back to Pulisic going to Chelsea for 70, was it 70 odd
Yeah.
million?
Yeah, they've made a hell of a lot of profit from some of their big name players over the last few years.
Yeah, Aubameyang as well, Lewandowski, the list
Yep.
goes on.
Compared to what they bought them in for,
Yeah,
it's incredible.
no, yeah, you're right, and that's probably going to continue for a bit. They're not, up to the same sort of financial position as Bayern Munich's and stuff, where they go and buy the best players. They have to
That's
sell
right.
them to
I
make.
think their team is lose Sancho. The team is considerably weaker, and I don't know if anyone's rumoured with Julian Brandt, but he's a fine player, and I would expect there to be some big clubs after him.
Well, yeah, he's probably going to be the next one to go after. Well, if they're selling Sancho, they probably, don't want to sell Brandt in the same sort of window, and that's sort of why they put 10th of August as their deadline to sell Sancho on, because then I think it's when is the transfer window? Is it October when the transfer window ends?
Yeah, I think it may be the 2nd of October.
Yeah,
The transfer window ends, but then there's the domestic, so you can have
yes.
transfers in England between or the UK, sorry, between those clubs
Yeah,
for another further 2 weeks till the 16th.
yeah, and that's across all the leagues, isn't it?
Yeah,
In England, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, and I was just going to touch on Sancho, the deadline being 10th of August. Dortmund probably want to sell him on, and then obviously they need to look at who they're going to bring in as a replacement for him. That's probably why they need that time as well. But
yeah.
um,
Especially with Marco Reus injured indefinitely yet again.
yeah, that's injury has troubled him throughout his career as well. Maybe that's sort of stopped him from making a bigger move as well away from Dortmund. But Liverpool also rumoured with Sancho. Obviously, coming in, if he were to choose to go to Liverpool, I'm not sure if Liverpool are going to be willing to spend 100 million, but Sancho would be fantastic for the Liverpool squad. However, there is 3 players in Liverpool's
Ahead
front,
of him.
Firmino, Salah, and Mane. So I don't know. He definitely wouldn't be getting the same amount of game time.
I don't think he'd want to come if he wasn't going to be guaranteed first team football. But he may want to come to Liverpool eventually, so maybe he holds off at Dortmund until he can be guaranteed a spot at Liverpool, And it'd be interesting to know if Manchester United miss out on Sancho, who do you think they go for? Do they try and fill that hole with Grealish?
Well, Villa are asking for 80 odd million for Grealish as well. I mean, the transfer market is, even though we're in this global pandemic, it's still quite inflated, and I think that's sort of not necessarily.
I don't think Grealish is worth that much, if I'm being
No,
honest.
no,
Especially, he hasn't been playing that well of late. I know he scored a goal against West Ham on the final day, but he kicked it straight at Fabianski and he just flapped at it. So I don't think he's been overly impressive.
not recently, but he's definitely carried Villa. He's been there.
Yeah, but not 80 million.
No, definitely not 80 million. No, I'd say probably a good price for him would be 50 odd million. Would you say? Would be reasonable
Yeah,
around that.
yeah, because he's still young.
Yeah, no, he's still young. Exactly. I mean, I don't know how long his contract is at Villa, because obviously the more years on his contract, the more expensive he's going to be. But
I think he may be running out next season, because I think there's been talk about trying to get him to sign a new deal.
yeah, the Villa definitely don't want him to go for free. That would be an absolute catastrophe for them. But yeah, just going back to Sancho, if he were, to wait another year, Salah and Mane and Firmino, they're not getting on. They're in their prime years, 28 years old, around that age. So yeah, if Sancho were to wait another year, I definitely think he'd be able to push his way into a starting starting lineup.
Yeah, and with Firmino not being in the greatest of form this season, you never know. You may see Salah or Mane turn into a striker for Liverpool. I don't think that's beyond the realms of.
No, well, we've seen them both play in that position before as well. Maybe not to the same effect as when you have Firmino in that false nine position with those two out wide, but it's definitely in the realm of possibilities. But also, if Sancho were to go to Man United, he'd obviously get more game time if he were to move this season as opposed to going to Liverpool this season. But then again, if he goes to Liverpool this season, potentially, there's that potential for more trophies right away. There's also another thing. I think Liverpool definitely in with a shout for more trophies than United.
Definitely, but I think if he were to go to United, they're slowly building a formidable team that will challenge for trophies, and they will challenge for things like the Carabao Cup and FA Cup next year. Whilst I don't think they'll challenge, properly for the title, they'll be in and around that conversation, definitely. I think.
Yeah, no, that's agreed with.
So I can see the upside of going to Man United.
Yeah, did they finish on was it the same points as last season? Man United?
I'm not sure, but I can have a quick look.
Definitely around the same. But I guess top four this season, even though they finished on the same amount of points.
They're in the Champions League, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, no, exactly. And so that was all the rumours about Sancho. Willian to Arsenal is looking more likely. That looks to be a good signing. If it goes through for Arsenal,
especially if it's on a free.
Yeah, experienced Premier League player. Although he is asking for 3 years, and he's 30. He's not. I think he's 32. If not, he's getting close to 32.
He's 31.
31.
In fact, he's 32 in 4 days.
Yeah.
Oh no, yeah, 4 days.
That's. I mean, 3 years is maybe asking a bit much. I mean, he's been quality this season for Chelsea, and I'm sure he won't drop off too much. But
maybe 2 years would be the better option, but I think it is a good signing. It gives him good depth out in that right wing. He'll give someone to contend with for Pepe.
Yeah, and that's what Arsenal definitely needs, some more competition in the squad, especially with all those young players coming through that they have up front as well, with the likes of Martinelli and Nketiah, those sort of guys. So it'll be also good for them to learn off of Willian too. So definitely agree. Great signing on a free. I was almost hoping Liverpool would go for him, but I don't think we want to pay his wages.
I think it would be a smart move though for Liverpool.
You don't think?
No, I think it would be a little bit of backup for those wingers.
Yeah, so do I. It's that experience as well. Coming into the squad, I'm not sure. Yeah, exactly as I mentioned, Liverpool playing.
Whether Liverpool, want him or want someone a bit younger.
Yeah, and I've heard he's not necessarily the most disciplined sort of character, so I don't know if Klopp would, sort of want that. But yeah, we'll see how we'll monitor that. Willian to Arsenal. Alexis Sanchez, has he joined Inter Milan now permanently, or he's been given permission to at least play out the Europa League campaign, hasn't he?
I'm not quite sure. I just know there's talks going on there, and that I think he wants to be permanently at Inter Milan. I'm pretty sure he came out and said they've reignited his love for football or whatever.
Oh, that's lovely for him. I mean, what's his name? Conte. He's definitely found a tune with Sanchez this season. He was dead and buried at Man United, so I mean, it's good.
Yeah.
Good for him.
And also, a couple of months ago, people were talking about Sanchez to West Ham.
Well, I think I don't know.
Some of the ludicrous things people come up with.
Or for West Ham, but especially considering the signings West Ham have made, I don't think many. Am I right in saying this? Many have really worked out. I don't know if Sanchez would have worked out.
Well, but our latest two, Bowen and Souček, have worked out. So
yeah,
change of philosophy maybe.
Maybe give Moyes some more time. We'll hopefully do some good for the club. Coming up, there's the Champions League. City both Real Madrid in the second leg of the round of 16, being 2-1 up, 2 away goals for Man City. Real Madrid are without Sergio Ramos, and I think that'll be a big detriment to that game for them. How do you see this one panning out at the Etihad? I think is it Friday that kicks off, or Saturday morning for us it is?
Saturday morning for us, Friday night over there.
Yeah.
I only see this going one way, and that's Man City will win. Yep, I think they have too much quality, especially with Ramos out. I know Real Madrid are in form, but I think Man City will win.
I think City will go through. However, I wouldn't necessarily write Real Madrid off just yet. With their experience in the Champions League, as we've seen over the years, they definitely have the know-how in this competition. Of course, they are without their talisman in Sergio Ramos at the back, but definitely still a threat up front. Benzema has been in fine form this season, one of their best players actually, and you never know. I just think
you never know. You can't write them off, but
City
I personally think City will go through.
Yeah, with their defensive vulnerabilities, Man City, I think that it could be.
It's actually going to be very interesting, this Champions League, with no Liverpool. Who's going to step up?
Yeah, no, exactly. I think it's definitely wide open. I think Man City and Bayern Munich are probably favourites for the competition at the moment, but it's definitely up for grabs without Liverpool. I think who are favourites coming into the competition. So it'll be interesting to see how teams take their chances, especially with one-legged ties as well. It's going to be some very intense, high-paced games.
Yep, definitely.
Yeah, well, that game is Saturday morning for us in Sydney. That's going to be a Friday night Champions League kickoff in Europe. But it could be a good game. I think it's going to be a draw. I don't think City will win on the night, but I think they will go through. But you never know. Real Madrid, they've been grinding out results all season.
Yeah, I think they'll go through too. And there's the other game on that day is a very interesting one too, with Juventus being down 1-0 to Lyon.
Yeah, Lyon definitely still well within that tie, and we'll see if Ronaldo can step up for Juventus like he has this season. It'll be an interesting tie Friday night at the Etihad. Real Madrid have been grinding out results all season in the league in Spain, so I think that Real Madrid, even though they haven't necessarily been absolutely firing past teams this season with like scores of 4-0, 5-0. They've been sort of scraping past and just grinding out results towards the end of the La Liga season, which ultimately saw them win the title. I think that they're a team you can trust to get the results, whereas City this season, you definitely can't trust them to get those important results. I think they've lost, 8 or 9 games this season. So I think Real Madrid still within a shout, but City obviously in the driving seat in this tie, being 2-1 up with 2 away goals. So Real Madrid need to score 2 goals at least at the Etihad if they want to go through. But that game's Friday night. And any other thoughts on that one, Elliot?
No thoughts on that one. I just think that one it's going to be too big a hurdle for Real Madrid to overcome. But the other game on that night will be very interesting as well, with Juventus currently 1-0 down to Lyon, having to overturn that deficit. Can we see a huge shock? Lyon beating Juventus.
Yeah, well, that will be another interesting tie, to say the least. Ronaldo, can he step up? He always tends to do it in the Champions League, so we'll see what he can do again. Juventus, though, have been dropping off. Well, obviously they've won the league title, they've won the Serie A, and then they dropped off after that. And they only won the league by 1 point in the end. But they haven't been playing too greatly in Serie A recently. So Lyon, if I was Lyon, I'd be, licking my lips ready for this game. This is a big chance.
Definitely. But at the same time, I think Juventus will overcome this deficit simply because they have been playing football. Lyon Liga hasn't been happening. It was cancelled. So I think to come back in your first competitive match and play Juventus in a Champions League round of 16, that's tough.
Yeah, no, definitely, especially considering they haven't, as you mentioned, playing in League One for a while now. It's going to be tough to get back to speed in such an intense game for them. But the Champions League, we'll be covering that on the Post Football podcast. So stay tuned for that. We'll just quickly touch on a few other transfer rumors and signings. Man City have signed the Valencia winger, Torres. I don't know what you make of that.
Yeah, I don't know a whole lot about Torres, to be honest.
Neither
Um,
do I. Well, Leroy Sané, sorry to interrupt you. He's obviously left the club for Bayern Munich in July, early July he left. And I mean, they signed Torres for 23 million euros. In today's market, that's not too bad. Young player still coming up through the ranks. And yeah, Spanish player as well. Hopefully, I don't know, hopefully Liverpool supporter, but Guardiola will be able to take him under his wing. And looks a decent signing for them.
yeah, around that 23, I'm hearing different reports, 23, 27 million mark. So it's not a cheap signing. So there's still a bit of expectation. If you're going to come in for 27 million, then you need to be some sort of a player. And hopefully for their sake that he is. I'm not sure about him, but I'm interested to see how he fares next season. I think he'll be a backup definitely, but he may work his way into the first team. I'm not sure what Guardiola's plans are for him.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see on that one. But City signing Torres around the 23 million, 25 million mark. Also, apparently Villa are willing to offer Jack Grealish 100k a week to stay at the club for the club captain. Um, I mean, obviously that's something they have to do in order to try and keep him at the club with the likes of Man United and all those top four, top six teams knocking.
Yeah, definitely. I think Man United probably would triple that if he was going there. So
Yeah.
it's probably not going to be enough at the end of the day.
Yeah, well, Villa trying to do all they can do to keep their star man at the club for at least another season. Also, Nathan Ake, we have discussed previously, he's signed for Manchester City. It's a bit of a strange one, in my opinion. I mean, he's a good defender. They did pay 40 million for him, which is just an awful lot for, I think, for Ake's. No disrespect to him, but I think there's defenders worth 40 million that are better than him out there. Also, I think City signing Ake for 40 million at the start of the transfer window has sort of inflated the market for the price of players just around Europe as well, with values going up left, right, and centre. But I don't know, is he worth 40 million? I don't know if he's necessarily even.
I mean, it's Man City, so they can chuck whatever they want and get him. So, yeah, I've never seen him as someone. I've always thought he's a bit overhyped, if I'm being honest. I think
Well,
he's
he's
a
part
good defender, and he's going to be a good backup there, I guess. But I don't know if he's that 40 odd million player that they've signed. I think you're probably right. There are probably some better centre backs you can get for that price.
Yeah, it's definitely a questionable signing. I mean, Man City, the players they've signed over the years have proven themselves to be quality signings under Guardiola. I mean, we yet to see the likes of sort of recent signings and like Rodri and stuff to properly prove themselves. But for how he'll fit in, I mean, City are trying to improve their defense, and he's a good player, Nathan Ake, but the times I've watched him, he's very sort of last ditch, last tackle in the box sort of defender. And I think they need that calm presence at the back, which they greatly missed, especially with Laporte being out so long. But Ake, we have to remember he's part of that Bournemouth defence that I think they've conceded over 60 goals for the last at least 2 or 3 seasons. So it is a bit of a strange move, in my opinion. I thought they maybe could have gone out and got someone more high profile. Even looking at Koulibaly and the likes of those sort of defenders, I thought they were in the realms of possibility to go to Man City. But we'll see how that fares for Aki and Man City when the season restarts, I guess. But yeah, also just quickly on Aki, he is a left-footed centre half. So is Laporte. Do you think? I mean, we see it all the time. Two right-footed centre backs playing together. But do you think two left-footed centre backs playing together, partnering up, makes it any sort of hurdle for Man City?
Not really. I think if he's good enough, then he'll be in there.
Yep, no, fair enough. I mean, it's just not something we see often, I guess, two left-footed centre halves.
Yeah, but if you had two Virgils and they were both left-footed, you'd definitely be playing both of them.
Yeah, true. I guess. Well, Aki and Laporte aren't Virgil, but
No,
I still,
but you know what I
point.
mean. If they're your two
Yeah.
best, then you play them.
Yeah, no,
Just a quick shout out to another team that's made a couple of moves, Brighton in the transfer window. A couple of good signings for them. Lallana on a free is going to be it's a very good signing, and then Joel Veltman from Ajax for £900,000. A very experienced centre back. He's played a lot of games in the Champions League for Ajax, and to get him for that little is a very, very good deal.
wow.
Only 28.
Jeez, that's wow. Okay, fair play to Brighton then.
Yep.
They're obviously doing something right at the moment, staying up in the Premier League, and then looking to improve straight away. With I think Lallana coming into Brighton is definitely on a free as well. Fantastic signing for them. Hopefully he can stay out of injury trouble, and I think he'll be a fantastic player for them. Not only in terms like on the pitch, but off the pitch as well, with his experience, helping like sort of the younger lads come through as well. Using his international experience and all the rest around the dressing room will be perfect for them. And yeah, Brighton. I didn't know they'd signed that guy from Ajax, but
Yeah. Good. It went under the radar, but it was a very good signing.
Yeah, that's perfect. And sort of try and wrap things up shortly. I'll just say that Iker Casillas, who's now 39, the Spain and obviously Real Madrid legend, has retired at age 39. So
Yeah, obviously with the heart condition he had last year, the heart attack, I believe he had.
yeah,
That
and
was
he continued
probably given.
playing after the heart attack as well.
I think
Or
he was still on the list, but I don't think he played.
yeah, okay.
So I think he was still in and around the team, celebrated the title with them and stuff like that, but didn't actually play. I don't think. I think that would have been a bit too dangerous.
Yeah, no, definitely. But what a career, what a player. I mean, hopefully the greatest goalkeeper of his generation. Um, he's been absolutely fantastic. I
Yeah,
mean,
great player.
he's won 2 European Championships for Spain and the World Cup in that space of was it 4 to 8 years or 6 years? Yeah, just absolutely fantastic. And
Yeah. Angel Gomez signed for Lille.
really from Man United.
Left
So,
United.
okay, maybe sort of taking the same path as Jadon Sancho, trying to get some more game time abroad.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not been a bad option. I mean, it's worked out for Jadon Sancho perfectly, and I guess it's sort of becoming more of a trend now for players to do that these days, going abroad to get more game time. And
Yeah, definitely. It's probably a good move for him. He wasn't getting the opportunity he would have thought he probably would have got because of Mason Greenwood's rise. So I
yeah,
can understand him wanting to get a bit more first team football. And there was one other odd transfer, and that was Troy Parrott, the young Tottenham striker. He's gone to Millwall on loan.
okay, on loan. I mean,
Interesting decision. Just Millwall. It's just an odd sort of
yeah, a bit of an
odd choice in the championships. In the championship, could have thought Troy Parrott could have maybe gone to a club with a bit more stature.
Yeah, no, you have a point. I mean, who knows what's going on with Jose at the Realm at the moment, but um,
And not
yeah,
that Millwall are a bad club because they had a very good season, but they're
I
not
mean,
a club that is going to attract players normally like that. who have a
No,
lot of potential
wouldn't
to be serious.
associate that normally. Millwall, signing the likes of like the big six. We can still say Tottenham are a part of the big six. Those sort of players, but I guess it'll sort of help him in terms of physicality as well, the way Millwall play,
Yeah.
to maybe beef up a bit and get that side of the championship where it's a bit more physically inclined, some of the gameplay. So maybe that's what he needs to come back to the Premier League a bit more stronger and physically able. So maybe I can see part of that move helping him.
Yeah. I think wherever he went in the championship, he was going to get, it was going to help him. He's going to need, not need, but it will be good for him to get a considerable amount of game time in professional competitive football.
Yeah, no, exactly. And yeah, hopefully it goes well for him then. Yeah, do you have anything else to add this week?
Not this week. I think we might wrap it up there.
Yeah, no, it sounds good. I think we've covered quite a bit in the hour, roughly the hour that we've recorded. And yeah, thanks for joining us. I hope you made it this far, listening in to the Post Football Podcast. It's been our second podcast, and yeah, there's going to be more to come.
Still working on a few things to better it, obviously.
Yeah, no, exactly. We're just getting started, and hopefully we'll improve the audio soon. We've been using just testing out different audio platforms recently, and we're going to add some video to our podcast soon. And yeah, we'll be covering all things football on the Post Football Podcast. We're going to be trying to implement different sorts of talk shows and whatnot. But yeah, thanks, Elliot, for joining me today. It's been good chatting again.
Yep, no worries.
Yeah, we'll hopefully see all of you guys on the weekend for another edition of the Post Football Podcast.